No cussing.
And we're back with the Love 'em Laser Tag podcast, week number 4. This is Mischief.
This is the Fear Turkey.
Slaughtermelon.
Hot tamales.
Meme source.
And feeder.
Tonight we have a cool lineup. We're going to be talking about mistakes that new players make, like when you come into the Space Marines for the first time. Obviously, you have no idea what's going on. Everything looks like chaos. People are running around screaming. People are dying. People are getting thrown from the 3rd floor. It's bad.
I'm saying profanities.
Uh-oh.
Profanity. Yeah, you take that, Luke. Is that for
I
the
have a
podcast?
system now. I'm going to be able to bleep you out. Just you watch.
Profanity.
But we're going to talk about the games we played tonight for some of the highlights from the night. Who has a favorite game that they want to talk about?
I do.
What happened?
You know, it was just that first game, and I got medic on a random. And I don't play medic a lot, but when I do, I like to do the battle medic concept, right? I scored 4,000 points, and it was pretty lit, as the millennials say.
Did you survive?
But did you win?
I don't know, did we?
No.
No, we did not win that game, but nobody else on my team died, so
Hey, good stuff.
I feel like I proved to an extent that...
No, you didn't prove anything.
Leave
you
me
guys
alone.
lost.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, no, but did anyone else die?
Was it a 10-minute game?
But did anybody else die?
But what is it, a 10-minute game?
But did anyone else die?
Okay, what about anyone else?
My favorite game was the 3rd or 2nd to last game when Troy put me and Bromley on resubs, and we did really well with resubs.
Oh yeah,
I didn't die. I survived at the end with a solid 8 lives, I believe. And we coordinated very, very well, and we won. So I think I improved my medic skills in that game as well.
I think we did that game twice. We swapped colors.
Yeah, the second game didn't go very well, though, but the first game went. It was your fault. But
Yeah, we put Caleb on
sorry.
heavy that time, and we had a very double offensive 3-shot concept going on, but it was a good time. It was
Did we
really
win that
it was a really close
Yeah, you guys-
victory.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was a good
No,
fight.
I'm
There
just kidding.
was shoves everywhere. Like I'd use all 3 nukes super strategically.
Yeah.
But then
I tried to
Luke
use mine as
decided
well.
to like make a meme out of it and make me medic one game or ammo.
Yeah, I
it
made
was-
you ammo
which
with
is-
Sace and Mailer.
Yeah, that's not a good combo. No,
I wanted to see how you would take it,
I did not take that well,
mm-hmm.
and I full.
and it has been noted in my Caleb maturity diary.
Hey,
But yeah, I think that me and Bromley did resubs really well because we resubbed each other at the same time, like at least 3 or 4 times on accident. So that was really good. So we kind of just clicked very well, so that it went well.
I'd agree.
I played commander that game with you, Luke. You were commander on the other team.
Uh-huh.
You were using those nukes really well too. I think my first nuke was my most valuable nuke. As soon as I got it, I went up to my resubs because Ben was up there. He was heavy, and I dropped it while I was on the ramp. I was looking both ways, just like the Fear Turkey had showed me in a previous game in a previous night, to like make sure to watch both sides and all that fun stuff. And as soon as I dropped it, Ben pushed all you guys off the 3rd floor. Eventually, you guys got it back, but that first push I really liked. So
I was really impressed with all 12 players that game that you were commander, because the fight for top lasted the entire time.
Yeah,
it was like everyone was involved.
It was neck and neck,
shove,
yeah.
a shove. No one was out for the count anytime.
My favorite game that I played was when I was playing medic, and I had Fear Turkey as my ammo.
Why on earth would you like that?
Because when I play medic, I am known to simply vanish, and that is good and bad because I vanish from the enemy team, but I also vanish from my own team. But this time, I didn't survive, but I almost did, and I was close to Fear Turkey pretty much the entire game, and I wasn't just running away.
I gave him very direct instructions that game. That was nice. He kept walking in directions that I told him to, instead of running in opposite directions, which was so good.
Yeah, you're good at that. I'd say my favorite was in that very final game. Well, it was my favorite. But I got to play resupply with you, and when I'm the medic, it works a lot better. Because you just tell me what to do, and I'm like, got it, boss.
I am a free spirit. I will not be shot down.
So, who do you think improved the most?
Ooh,
Or would you say a favorite game?
Terrence.
I didn't really have a lot of favorite games, just because all of them were a lot of fun. All of them had highlights of their own, and it was a good time. I will say that my least favorite game was when I cheated. I put a follow missile into Caleb by accident, but like
there
not.
was no accident about that.
I accidentally missiled my own medic, quote Jonathan.
Quote John. We miss you, Ryujin. Come missile more medics, please.
Stop.
I missed that man.
No, that was not a good. We won that game still, but that was still so dumb.
Were you that medic, Eric?
I don't know.
Yeah. We were in Elims too. That was
Oh yeah.
That was against Armageddon.
Yeah.
And he was like, I thought it was the commander. And
You still got the warning when you try and missile
like,
your own team.
all I could honestly do was just stare at him and be like, why?
Who was the medic? Do you know? Was it Seth?
It might have been me.
It was Eric that game.
I think we've all improved quite a bit since that tournament.
I think that Caleb deserves an honorable mention. He is doing very, very well in terms of like trying to stay back more instead of just like blindly trying to poop on the enemy resupplies,
I would agree.
which
You're
is
very controlled tonight.
which was nice.
Controlled pooping.
Except the fact that I never got to be on his team, so I always got to fight Caleb.
We got to play on a team once and we won.
I mean,
And then we didn't get to play on a team for the rest of the night.
was it a real game?
That's why you didn't get to play on the same team again.
Bolschlaka! See?
Cuss!
Profanity.
Profanity!
I know, I am censoring myself out.
You're doing good.
Thank you.
That was, yeah. No, Caleb deserves an honorable mention for that. We didn't really have a lot of people, like, to really talk about, but if it's not Caleb, it's definitely Mason. Mostly because, for me, when I was watching what Mason was doing, he was doing a lot of, like, jump stuff. His name's Mass, but he jumps around and, like...
We've already gone the whole 7 minutes about using a single code name, so let's just keep going.
Wait, isn't that y equals mx plus b?
Are we done?
Not mass.
Is that's how you do math? That is how geography works. I don't even want to hear it.
I can't read. Anyways, Mason's been getting really good about taking initiative and like doing his own thing and staying back when his team needs him. He's getting a really good idea of when to be out and when to not be out. So
All I remember from tonight, and I think Mason just had an off game or something, but it was a less than 2,000 point difference at the very end. And I see Mason at the bottom of the scoreboard, 8 lives and 50 shots, and he had no bases. He could have won his team that game.
a lot of it was talking to him and telling him he needed to be more defensive and stuff. So like, it's a lot of miscommunication from his team to him. Like, him making his own decisions only works when you don't tell him what to do, if that makes sense. So like, if you're calling out like, okay, we need you back because our heavy's off doing whatever, then he's gonna stay back and not score a lot of points, but we're gonna keep doubling him, kind of thing.
Love you.
My biggest improvement for the night, I would say, I'm impressed with Bromley again. Bromley pulled a really nice commander in the early parts of the night. He actually played it, I think, 3 or 4 times tonight.
He got
Yeah.
like 5 games, yeah.
He was doing pretty well.
He was doing really well, and when I was playing heavy while he was commander, he was downstairs attacking, and there was all 4 of us back, and he dropped 2 nukes down there at separate times and just was running in and massacring people all on his own. He didn't use them as strategically like that, but he didn't have to. That was a chance where he could be independent, and he actually took advantage of that, which is really a sign of improvement for a commander in my eyes. What are you yahoos up to?
I'm not doing
John
anything.
stole my ring.
Eric, who do you think improved the most?
If we're not counting Seth's brother,
Yeah, Seth's
Ethan.
brother Ethan, he improved a ton tonight.
I didn't know who it was. If we're not counting him, I haven't been here enough to see what people are like before. but people were playing well that I wasn't expecting was Bromley, because I haven't seen him play a lot. He's very confident in his trading, but sometimes that's a bad thing because he's not winning the trades. But he's confident he's going to win them unless he's taught that he's not going to, which is very good as a commander, definitely, because he will just go in and be so sure of himself that he's going to win that he is eventually going to win.
And that's a mark of how he's growing so fast. He's not afraid to attack the larger players, the people who have more experience with trading than him. So he doesn't lose a lot of trades, but he's just getting really good practice every time because of that.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll walk this road together through the storm, whatever.
Who do you think improved the most, John?
I don't know. Yeah, Seth's brother or whatever. That last game, I didn't see him play like much of all tonight, except for like the first couple games because I had to leave. And I came back for the last two, but the very last one, or no, it wasn't the last one.
The very last one, he played heavy.
Yeah, it was the very last one. He played heavy, and I was scout, and I don't play scout much, but I think the only reason I did decent as scout is the heavy wasn't as aware, which I mean I totally get, he's a new player and all that fun stuff, and
Yeah, his first night. He
Yeah,
went
first
for every
night.
role except commander.
yeah, which is awesome, but
No, he didn't play resupplies.
did he?
I don't think so.
I don't know, but he did really good as heavy. He kept he kept me out. He kept resetting off of our players. Like he was resetting really well for a first night. Like it was amazing. But I don't know.
Yeah, improvements all around. Just everyone's starting to reach much higher levels than they were 1 month ago.
I do want to say that Ben is also on that list. Raiden GL, he played a heavy game tonight specifically that really caught my eye, where he just like completely destroyed like 4 people at the same time because he was just continuously resetting people, and like he was using his team as resets. He was really good about getting more shots and stuff like that. Like he was just really mindful of what he was doing.
Dude, I gotta agree.
He took a pretty big poop on me that game, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, what is
did he
going
do?
on? Well, I mean, he was nailing resets, first of all. Like, okay, usually, as a player, I'll see him, like, he'll reset off me once, and then he'll run away. But tonight, he just, he totally chained it. I wasn't ready for it. I lost 4 lives off of that. And, well, like, it's really good. I like seeing that kind of improvement, like, especially because one of my bigger strategies, especially for resets, is I'll just run up to somebody and they'll reset me once or twice, but then they'll stop and I just get those free points afterwards. But no, I like to see the improvements. So
I think I need to improve on not running face first or knee first into anything, because that wasn't part of the plan or very helpful.
AJ, you only get 1 per night.
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Can't do it
help
twice.
myself. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell
You
you.
just like collided into each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
scout, and I was running up blue ramp, and all of green was up on the top of 3rd floor, and red was pushing in, and I was trying to get to red in the
I
fun
was
box.
pushing.
Yeah, she was pushing as a heavy, trying to get us out and trying to get them out, but we totally just like slammed right into each other.
Yeah, you
knees,
ran-
like, collided. It was
Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
90-degree angle collision.
It was
and
that
it
part
was
where the
not
2
good.
walls come together.
Yeah.
See, what
You're both trying to pass through at the same time.
What
Yeah,
sucks
it was
is
bad.
like while she was sitting there like people were still like tagging us. We're like, hold on, like we gotta like
it really
see
hurt,
what's going
honestly.
on here.
Like
but
it still hurts, but
Oh, wait.
we lost
whatever.
probably 2 or 3 lives off that.
Morals fly out the window when you're playing medic.
Fun random thing when I was chasing Caleb as heavy and he was commander, and we thought he knocked one of the screens off the wall.
yeah, but it was just a pack.
It was just one of the Marshall packs that fell over, but he jumped and hit a wall, and a loud bang happened. We were like, "Oh God!"
Don't jump
Was that the last round? Was that the big
No,
bang that
No,
we heard?
like
it was
I
one-
didn't even jump sideways. It was just straight up. But
Yeah,
I
he
jumped.
just jumped and landed and
like,
vibrated
I
the
don't even
ramp.
know how did I jump that high.
I don't know.
Like that was some godlike stuff right
You
there.
were shook.
You were trying to dodge a missile.
Yeah.
You were spooked.
People do crazy things to dodge missiles.
Right.
Nut shots,
I'm
phaser shots.
I'm gonna just throw
Jumps
this one
off
out
of
there.
3rd floor.
I'm gonna just throw this one out there. Instead of calling things like godlike and stuff like that, we're gonna start saying rusty-like.
Ah, yeah, good point. No, Scythe-like.
Caleb was
Scythe isn't a jumper though.
Caleb was very rusty-like tonight.
It had to be the meme costume. By the way, guys,
meme
for those of you who show up to East Coast, catch me in my rusty outfit 3 days. For 3 days, like at least for
All
finals.
3 days.
I am gonna dye my hair red for it, and I will get a fake beard. Yeah, that's just shout out to my man Rusty.
You gotta make your code name Rusty, but with the reverse capitals, the opposite of his.
I feel like copyright's a bad thing.
I doubt he patented it.
You can copyright a person, you can't
I
copyright a
trademarked
name.
my name.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna we're also gonna talk a little bit about the A team that's coming up for West Coast, the tournament we're hosting in a couple months. Finally got the dates locked in. Congratulations, applause for Josiah. Got those dates
Yeah!
locked in.
Ah, boy, only took
All
forever.
right, so you're gonna have to Photoshop some real applause up in there, but
Okay. Never mind.
So
16
Never mind, I'm
through
not
18.
gonna try and tackle that
Is
situation.
it? Wait, where is it?
16 through 18.
It's here.
Right here.
I haven't heard anything about this.
Okay, so
Home of the Loveland Wildcats.
What? No. Please, no. We're not going to High School
I'm-
Musical. No.
Get your head in the game.
Can we have
Stop.
Troy here?
shout out to my main resupply and my main meme friend Grack. But I can't do the Wildcats again.
No, until we change the name, we are the Wildcats. We can
I'm-
change
We're-
it.
anyone on my
I thought
team
we were
change it
changing it
is
to
part of the
Colorado
coup.
Carnage.
Just
I
so
thought
you
we
guys
were
know.
legalizing.
We are
Oh, I'm deaf.
for East Coast. We are legalizing.
Anyways,
Yeah, I wanna go over like every single person, but let's just like anything we've noticed.
basic West Coast information. Entry fee is $75 now. It's going to be the 16th through the 18th all day, every day. So that's the Tuesday, the Wednesday, and the Thursday. It's going to still be open to the public, but the laser tag is going to be completely reserved all day for the tournament. Cafe, there's going to be some deals probably going on for food. So if it's something that you guys are interested in, shoot me a message over Facebook or just find me at TNT one of these days.
All right, so I'll say one thing for the A team. We have a list of like 7 players that are kind of bouncing around, but we haven't really mentioned Eric at all. And the thing with Eric is that he's already been to one tournament. He has a lot of experience. He actually, I think, is like the 3rd most games of Space Marines.
2 tournaments.
He's been to one away tournament. He has the 3rd most game of Space Marines out of anybody at our site. I was looking on the website, and you have like 650 plus. Troy is like the only person higher than you. Thing with Eric is he's our most completely book smart player. He's got really good reflexes, and he likes to play a turret. But the thing with Eric is that when he's playing a defensive role, he's really good at being responsible for himself, even if that means he flees and runs
What
away from his team. He's at least responsible for himself.
what I
Listen,
what I noticed about
wait,
Eric.
let me
I'll-
finish.
Oh, come on.
All right, so we'll go
Alright.
Luke, John, me. I got
Alright,
you guys. Sorry.
alright, sorry.
I do think he plays a very mean heavy, and that when he takes responsibility over himself and a few others, he's always good about his call-outs, probably better than anybody, and he can missile dodge better than anyone I know. His body just suddenly goes at 500 times speed,
I'll
and
take that bet.
he's doing flips and backflips, spins and twirls, and he's like suddenly already
Vaults.
away by the time he comes back up. But I don't think we give him enough credit as one of the considerations. He has a lot of experience under his belt. He'd play a mean defensive role.
I'll since mine's a joke, I'll go past John here, and then John can be serious again. I kind of got to debate the book smart thing. In D&D, my intelligence is 20.
That doesn't mean your real intelligence is 20.
Bet.
Yeah,
Okay.
Do you have the spell book memorized?
Bet. No, I don't.
Your
Exactly.
intelligence is probably
That's
more like
fair.
11.
He's also a rogue. He doesn't have spells.
True.
Actually, I'm an arcane rogue, so okay.
John's
All right. Well, what I noticed about Eric, the times that I do play with him, is he does not push as hard. What he likes to do, especially as a commander in heavy, is just like stand still. He does not move. He stays in one position. It's sort of like a turret. Like he'll just stand there and wait for you. Like he does not really push. except for at the beginning of the games when he like comes over to the opposite ramp. But that's the only time I've ever seen him like run toward our players. Otherwise, he's like real slow. He'll walk around the arena like it's nothing. Like
Yeah, it's kind of. Well, that's why I said he plays a really good defensive player.
Yeah.
And he primarily plays resupplies out of all the other roles. But he's starting to get more into heavy. I've noticed. He could definitely stand to learn how to swap from his play style because it works sometimes, and when it does work, great. But then when people figure him out, he has a hard time adapting, and he's sort of like if I'm able to tag down Eric and really get him and start resetting him, he'll just sort of give up, go somewhere else, and then try the same strategy again. So I think if there's anything for Eric to work on to strive for the A team, it would be that is to start switching up his play style and learn how to adapt to situations a little better.
I think the most obnoxious thing that I've ever seen happen with Eric, we're talking about feeder. We were trying to resupply under Red Rock, and our heavy downs Eric. Eric literally walks in, looks at all of the people that were just in there, and walks away. Immediately, he comes back in, downs the heavy, kills all of us, and then just nukes as he's missiling the heavy. So we just couldn't do anything.
That's so ballsy.
And like,
Well, I mean, if I know where you all are, you guys had better move.
yeah.
it was so rough, and like we totally lost that game. It was disgusting. I was playing medic, and like we resupplied our heavy like twice that entire game, so he just died straight up. It was not good.
That last game where I was scout and Eric or feeder was commander. It was so annoying. Again, he was like the turret. He was just standing still. He was on red side on second floor, just sitting there in that corner, looking at all of us. We were pretty crammed up in the fun box at one point, and he was just standing there, and I couldn't move because he was just waiting for us to move. Like it was so annoying. It was really good. I eventually just had to run and get away from him.
Turkey, do you have anybody you want to talk about?
So there's a lot of issues that I'm kind of having involving A team and B team, where there's players that have openly said that they if they don't make A team, they're just not going to play. And like, however much I respect how good of a laser tag player they are, I really don't like the kind of pettiness that they put forward. It creates a lot of adversity, I guess, just for my decision making. But it also kind of makes me a little bit more aggressive and makes me want to be like, bet.
Bet.
I mean,
I said I would play
we've
on the
always.
B team if there were specifics. Like, you guys were so wonky with your explanations of what you want, and you guys still haven't explained that to everyone.
We have like 4 times.
Well,
No, but you guys
It's
keep
different
changing
for
it, and
everybody.
that's... Well, no, like, my point is you guys went from wanting 2 equal teams to 1 team better, and then you guys wanted an actual A team and a B team, and now you guys are back to that equal point, correct?
No, we're still on that. But like,
Loveland's always been the fun site because we've been like the newest. But now that we're starting to really get the game, get some really experienced players, and actually have a chance to win our own tournament, we need to start taking ourselves seriously and do what every other site does, and that is stack the best team possible together to try to beat any incoming out-of-state teams and defend their ranks.
when our
You
East
have
Coast,
nothing to defend?
We're going to
Honor.
create something.
Okay, that's good.
when we get back from East Coast, we're gonna start practices for our WCT teams. Specifically, the first 2 weeks are gonna be more tryouts than anything, and just kind of be me and Luke looking at who should be where. On that 3rd week, we're probably going to be doing some sort of vote for who should be the B team captain. Personally, I think that the B team captain should probably, if Eric ends up on B team, it should probably be Eric. If Caleb ends up on B team, it should probably be Caleb. It just depends on who's more experienced and who's like not, I guess.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I just want to say I'm seeing so much improvement out of everybody. And we're trying to give as much feedback as we can on these podcasts so you can learn specifically just like if we talk about you for a couple of minutes, that you can learn, okay, I need to do this. Because if you are on the A team, one thing that's really important is that you're mature enough to take criticism and that you're willing to put the team first instead of yourself. If you're willing to change something about you to get onto the A team, then that will be one of our considerations. There was a zombie. Hey, zombie. What's up?
RAR XD.
RAR XD.
Shut up.
He was sticking his tongue out of his teeth.
Well, anyway, I think we should move on to our next topic.
Well, real quick, I would like to talk about Seth and Zenless. I know, kind of touched on him last week, but this is my week back on the podcast. I have noticed him improving a lot since when I last saw him play, and one of the things I notice is I'll see him somewhere and I'll tag him, and then I'll look up and he'll be attacking me from somewhere else. Like he's very good at knowing where he is in regards to the arena and knowing how to hit you from just about anywhere he wants.
Yeah, Seth is starting to follow in the footsteps of Loki, I think. He's starting to learn how to shadow walk around, get somewhere you're not expecting him to be, and then peck you from there. He doesn't have to be a super aggressive
And
player.
especially since he's a tree, he can hit you from first floor if he feels like it. Because, he can just stand on his tiptoes and look up on second floor.
Well, he's definitely been one of our main considerations. But let's go ahead and go to our topic for the night. Mistakes that new players make. So we've all been a new player at some point, and I think it'd be best to talk about kind of how each of us got to where we were and the main things we had to overcome to get there, and some of the things that new players could stand to do at our site to help them improve at the rate that someone like I would say Bromley is. Bromley's improving probably by like a good 20% of his skill level every week.
I mean, the way that Bromley's getting so good so fast is he's asking questions, and he's continuously like observing his mistakes, and instead of looking at it like, okay, well, I messed up and I'm frustrated about it, he looks at it and he says, okay, well, I wasn't where I needed to be, and then he moves on and he does it the next game. And every single game is a learning experience for him, and he just continuously erupts with that stuff. He doesn't understand the rules at all, but like that doesn't matter when you only have 50 games.
Caleb, when I first met you, I had come back from college and we were about to do the nationals here, and you were still one of our newest players, and we had a bunch of people kind of your age but who had been playing longer than you that were our main 3 shots, commanders and heavies, like King Tong and Cole and Biani and all them.
I think his name was No Cole No.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna
That's
call him
even
Cole.
funnier.
But you've pretty much risen through the ranks to above their level, and you're now one of our top players in 3 shots and scout. So how did that journey happen for you?
Well, I want to say I took the Bromley route and asked questions, but I used to ask questions, and I'm gonna be honest, that was back when we discouraged new members, and I'm like, if I'm
Back
being
in the
completely
dark
honest,
ages.
having to quote unquote grow up really sucked, like, because nobody would help me.
Hey man, I don't want to hear that at all.
You didn't even have the time, so I don't want to hear it.
I didn't have the time because I got banned, but yeah,
That's fair.
you're right. Every Saturday when you would walk up to me and be like,
Hey, hey,
I just scored 30K. And I'd be like, hey man, good job. What'd you do differently? And you'd be like, kind of thing, and do this like 12-year-old talk to me kind of thing.
because I was 12.
You're right. You are right. And here's the thing. People did talk to you, but that was back in a time where our site was really unhealthy, and we had like 3 teams that specifically were very, very directed at trying to make sure that there weren't people that were going to come in and be better than the people that were already there. There were so many people there that were just like trying to essentially blacklist people, stuff like that.
But back to my point, either way, like having to grow like in Space Marines without with minimal help. It was a lot of self-reflection. Like, this was when I was still coming in like every Saturday, playing some normal games, feeling good about myself because I, scored 30K against a birthday party.
Yeah, I
But-
feel like there's a stage.
Over the year, over the first year of joining, and this is a story I like to tell. I played, I was trusted with nothing but Scout, and then my first Commander game was in the 2015 Nationals, and that was also my first Pentanuke.
Yeah, because we were memeing that entire tournament.
Just reflecting back on it, my advice to grow, and this is if, now I enjoy criticism a little more. Like, recently, replaying Heavy, I've been doing better as Heavy because I took your guys' advice on how to play more defensive.
Instead of saying, but did we win?
I mean, I still say that, but now it's more of a meme instead of me being cocky. But honestly, just take a look back at how the game went. I tried a lot of that tonight. Don't be afraid to ask questions, but
even just between this week and last week, you improved exponentially in Heavy because you just did a little something to your play style.
I scored.
Took some advice that you didn't really like last week, but you tried it this week, and it made your Heavy game even better.
I top scored every Heavy game I played.
Yeah. You still kept the Caleb aggressiveness on it, but
at the same time, I kept that defensive,
You also played your role.
I can turtle down.
You protected your team.
I almost had a 10K Heavy. The only reason I didn't have that 10K Heavy game was because I didn't grab that base.
Get that base.
But, realistically, actually playing Heavy, that would be a feat for me.
Well, I want to move on. To Molly, what is one of the biggest mistakes you see new players make?
I see a lot of new players, especially when they're starting out as Scout like usual, going too offensively and not coming back for resubs early enough, because that's one of the first mistakes that I made, even though I moved on to Medic pretty quickly, is just making sure that you know how many shots and how many lives you have, and knowing when to go back and get them, even though it takes experience to know exactly when to do that. But you don't want to stay out away from your resubs when you have 4 lives left and 8 shots when you're a Scout. So just kind of knowing when to go back to your resubs, I think, is one of the things I would watch out for new players.
Ironically, I came screaming for you tonight with 1 life when I was playing Heavy with you, so...
Yeah, in the second to last game, I came up to Josiah like, hey, I need lives and shots, because I was at 1 life and no shots.
1 life, you were sticking your phaser around the corner.
I was hiding from Caleb, please, I'm at 1 life and no shots, help me.
I heard that 1 life. I was like, boys, I'm going in.
Yeah.
I want to change my answer, just so you know.
Some more advanced players know that they can handle themselves when they have 4 lives and however many shots, when they know where they are, where the other players are, and
how many nukes are coming.
And just kind of keeping tabs on where everybody's at and where you're at. Some advanced players can handle that, but for new players, just making sure that you don't die or run out of shots and then die is one of the key things, because obviously you have to stay alive in order to play.
Obviously one of the most important. What were you going to say, Josiah?
Friendly fire is the most triggering thing I have ever experienced in my life. All right, and I forgot, okay? I completely forgot about how terrible it feels to go in as a heavy weapons and have your own Scout shoot you in the back 3 times, okay?
Not 4, you sure?
You go from full, you tag down all of them, run in as a heavy, push them away from third, but immediately as you go to reset their heavy, you get shot down by your own rapid fire Scout, okay? When this happens, all right, there is no recovery. And I feel like a lot of the things that are just not explained in Space Marines is, hey, don't shoot your friends. Because in a regular game, you can just rapid fire whoever you want, and you won't actually hit anybody unless you're above a level 3. And a lot of people, they don't play like that. So it's just kind of woo!
It takes some getting used to. And I knew when I was younger and getting into the game, sometimes I'd forget what team I was even on, because all you have to do is look down at your phaser, But does anyone else ever forget what team they're on sometimes?
Totally happens. It happened to me in the last game. Ben was up on 3rd floor. I was in the blue cubby, the chamber, and I was sitting there, and I totally thought Ben was on my team. And then he comes over and shoots me. I was like, oh. and I think you take advantage of that sometimes. I don't know. I think I've seen.
You could totally.
Yeah,
People-
I can
Seth
see you a
tonight was
couple
like,
times. Like,
Who was he getting it from you? He was like, "Give me resupplies." No, he did it to Bromley. He tried to get Bromley to give him resupplies when he was on the opposite team.
it's pretty triggering because then you're like, oh yeah, oh, like, yeah, it's, I don't know.
It's a little harder on members' nights when we were all swapping teams constantly.
And,
Yeah.
and then you got Josiah, who will purposely get hit, run into your resupplies, and be like, "Hey, resupply me," because they'll forget that he's not on their team, and everyone else is like, "Shoot him!"
I remember one time in one of the games, I accidentally friendly fired Slaughtermelon because I was on red ramp and I was really like
that was
in my
triggering.
zone, and there was at least 3 people that I was resetting off of, and then I turned up to the fun box and just accidentally shot him,
That
and
was right
so
as I was resetting resubs too.
yeah, that was my bad.
I
But like
lost.
even
I lost my poop over
He
that.
lost his profanity.
I was really tilted. I was like, I could have just gotten an extra 3 I was like, I could have killed the medic right there, but you shot me. And
yeah, it's just especially when you're like really in your zone and you're kind of getting ganged up on and you really have to focus. Sometimes your reflexes can get the better of you, even for more advanced players. You can accidentally,
Missile your own medic.
I've never done that.
It was the game I was playing
Let's
with you,
pin a
Josiah, I
Yeti.
think. And we were up in Funbox, and I was the medic, and John was sitting right there trying to get at us. You were playing Scout. We were in Funbox.
yeah.
And you're like, he's coming in, and then it was Seth. And Seth comes in, and I just pull the trigger because I'm like, oh, it's somebody. Totally shot my own team.
if I may answer your question, so I don't know if you're gonna call on me or not. So
I
I
wasn't
just
going to call on you ever.
oh well, I just put myself in there anyways.
Cool.
And it's the biggest mistake new players make, right?
Yeah.
Keeping your calm all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And this goes for the more advanced players too. Like, no, hear me out. I know you're shaking your head for your turkey, but it is not okay
Counter-nod.
to be completely calm all the time. It's okay to complain about things. Like, it's okay to mention what you saw wrong in a game. Don't keep your mouth shut. Express yourself.
Fear Turkey's just sitting
Like,
there shaking his head.
And I know Josiah's gonna keep.
Friendly fire is the most obnoxious thing. I don't care.
And see, like, that's
He's
my
saying
point.
you can tilt at that.
Like,
That's what he's saying.
As a new player, I would notice stuff and I would want to shout it out, but I was like, my opinion's not valid. But now I'm like, hear me because I'm
valid.
Caleb and you should listen to me. Like, you guys, like, I'm not saying have that same mindset because I'm still a little bad about it. I'm like, you need to listen to me. But, make sure you're expressing your opinions. And I don't mean, like, don't do it in, like, a douchey way or, like, a rude way to other players or anything. But it's okay to be like, there's somebody right here, or please, I need this, or please, I need that, or please stop giving him resets, or please stop friendly firing me. Yeah.
The little bean is loud and he will be heard.
All right, we have a
Goku
a
screams.
guest star, Poe. He's with us right now. Poe, you work here. You know your stuff. You are pretty dank ammo. What is the biggest mistake you see new players make?
As far as any position or for ammo?
Any.
No, just
The
any.
game.
I'm
Any-
saying you're pretty dank ammo.
Well, friendly fire is one. I actually do host some Space Marines camps sometimes, so I actually get to see new
Oh,
players
you
a
get
lot.
to see the brand new
Oh, yeah.
children players.
And I get to teach them every position, and it is a bit of a
Quote unquote teach.
yeah yep. But yeah, it's always interesting seeing new players and how they can jump into new things. However, there is always something people can improve on, and even me at this point, there's a lot I can definitely improve on. And I think the start to getting better is to realize that, hey, I could work on this. But yeah, no, for sure, friendly fire is one of the biggest things I see, and just not really following through with a plan sometimes. I know when you get caught up in the moment of Space Marines, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to find somewhere to hide. I can't get shot. Let's just run this way. The key to Space Marines is, yeah, you're going to get into that position, but you need to realize how to work with your team to make that situation better for you guys, because if you just get into panic mode, that's when you start to go downhill and it gives the other team an advantage. So I think for sure if you guys are new to Space Marines, just I would work with your team. Don't get too caught up and think I need to do this on my own. I need to go where I can. Sometimes get out of the way, but meet up with your team, figure out something to do, and
Don't rage quit in the middle of a match. That'd be nice.
That's me.
yeah. I've done that once or twice, but I
all
definitely need to take my own advice here. I do sometimes run away, but then I try to get a hold and be like, oh yeah, I need to meet my team up on 3rd floor. Let's go back up there and figure things out. So just
Hey, there was
definitely.
a cuss word right here, just so you know.
No,
Cuss!
I didn't mean
Profanity!
to. I'm just a kid.
Just a squid.
But I wasn't able to play tonight, but I did marshal a couple of these games here, and they did pretty well tonight. It was a good day for Space Marines. We have a solid team here. They're going to head out to Detroit here in a couple of weeks, and I think we'll do pretty good out there.
Think you're gonna play in the tournament?
Not this one, but I probably will be signing up for West Coast.
That's what I mean. Yeah, West
Oh,
Coast.
okay. Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool.
One thing for like making sure you're heard in the middle of the match, there's like a certain amount of yelling that you can do, but don't like one thing that I would like suggest new people to not do is like don't like scream, like don't like
They're right here.
don't like
Scream all the time.
Yeah, don't like do a blood-curdling scream that everyone outside of the arena can hear.
Can I get a
there's-
Sorry.
Shut up. There's a like you can just be like, oh yeah, their resubs are right here. If somebody is across the arena, obviously you have to raise your voice in order to be heard. But do not like, it just doesn't make anyone happy. Like as long as you're heard, it's fine. But you don't need to, like they stated, pull a Jarrett and make a blood-curdling scream, so that everyone outside the arena can hear it. So there's just a certain amount of yelling. That
I encourage people to use call-outs. For example, saying like, hey, they are at blue chamber, or hey,
drop
they
the
are in
gem.
blue closet, instead of
Instead
running
of-
around and saying, they're on me!
They're right here.
Yeah, saying
Where is
I'm
he?
right here. Well, where are you?
Yeah.
So Memosaurus has got to go soon.
Yeah, sure.
What is the biggest mistake players make?
Well, I'm just gonna pretty much say what I do because I'm a new player. I just hit 50 games like a couple weeks ago for Space Marines. Finally got that achievement. But biggest thing that I've done wrong as a new player is probably similar to what Tamale said, is just rushing in too much. I was given the privilege yet.
Cuss!
That's 2 strikes.
I was given the privilege of playing Commander at the beginning of Space Marines, which taught me a lot about Commander, but at the same time, it's really put me down when it comes to playing Scout. Because like I know I'll be playing Scout and Medic and all that stuff in East Coast, which will help me, especially since it's like a tournament experience and all that fun stuff. I'll be able to learn a lot about Scout and Medic. But playing a Commander at the beginning is not recommended, though it has taught me a lot about laser tag in general.
It's your play style. That's why we let you do it, because you're able to excel most in that role. Like, you're learning the most.
Yeah, when it comes to anything, I'm a pretty fast learner. What's that? Yeah, fast learner. Yeah, that's the proper term. But I don't know. I enjoy playing Commander, but I really think I do need to improve on Scout.
I'd like to lead in with that on mine, my personal thing. It's not the biggest thing people that... Bye-bye, John.
Bye, guys. I'll see you next week.
Drive safe, Memosaurus. I'll see you this weekend because I'm working closing shifts too. Woo.
Anyway, off of Memosaurus's thing, the biggest mistake that I personally want to talk about is new players thinking that scouts are mini commanders. It is absolutely, positively untrue. They are 2 completely different roles. They are 2 completely different roles.
I mean, unless you have 60 shots,
Listen.
you run in the middle of their team and start spinning, then it is a nuke.
So, the thing about scouts is, A, they get twice as many resupplies as any other role when they get resupplied. They get 5 lives and 10 shots just off of 1 double. The second thing is that they get rapid fire, and they're a one-shot. So they're sort of like a hit you before you hit them type of class.
Literally a glass cannon.
Meaning they can take out a 3-shot very quickly if they're not seen, but a 3-shot can take a hit from them and just shoot them down and keep going on their way. This role, to me, the way I play it, I'm going to speak as a pretty good scout because the past 3 games I've played scout, I've top scored my team. It's been pretty fun.
Go you.
The way I play scout is I fill. I watch my team play. I watch the heavy and commander and the resupplies do their rounds, and I fill in where I'm needed. If both 3-shots really need resupplies and they're both sitting at the resupplies because they just need it, it's not that they're bad or anything. They just need to get full. I will go and attack, even if I have only 10 shots to my name and 5 lives. I'm just gonna go make a couple swings at the enemy team because it'll buy them some time so that they can get on with their lives and send the commander out. If the heavy is running low and he's trying to defend from 2 angles, best thing I can do is give him a second defender from that angle. And I will go wherever the heavy is not and just be a second defender so he can get some resupplies when he has to. The thing with Scout is that you don't need much attention from the resupplies, so you are low priority. And I see a lot of new players, they'll start on Scout, which is where you should start. But they begin to think in terms of either just like strict offense or defense. They have to mimic the heavy or the commander. They either need to just be going attacking with the commander and filling up their team with scores, or they'll sit with their heavy and basically be in a heavy position where you're not going to stop any commanders coming their way. They're only a scout. That's my rant. Scouts are not commanders.
I will follow up with that. The way I describe Scout to new players is like a mosquito that you just can't quite hit. I mean, you'll get it a little bit, and it'll run away for a little bit, and it'll come back, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's the durability of a scout.
It's just never attack from the same spot. Just you're that little unpredictable thing where they're just like, where is he going to come from this time?
Definitely surprise is the key thing in the scout. But that's an advanced strategy that new players take a while to learn. But because new players are always the ones playing scout at new sites, they usually end up just becoming a lot less.
I love you, Memosaurus!
They become a lot less than they could be.
If I may interject, I heard you like talking about Scout and prioritize on resupplies.
What do you know about Scout?
I don't know. Probably you guys made me play it for a year. Sorry.
I don't get to play it ever.
That was a little shade
I
thrown.
miss Scout so much.
That's why I made you play
Me too.
Resupply. I just wanted to play Scout.
I wanted to play Scout so bad tonight.
Too bad.
I was trying to stay away from Commanders tonight too, but anyways, point being, something I've started doing when I go to get resupplies is I'll see our resupplies. It's really common for them to panic, and there'll be like 2 people up at a time, and neither of them are getting resubs, but they both need it. And if I'm one of those people, I look at them and I say prioritize. I am like, for example, if I'm a commander and I need to go attack if we don't have any pressure, I'll look at them and I say I am priority, like please treat me as a priority. Or like I'll be a scout and I'll be like, get me last, I am not priority right now. But that's just a keyword I've been using with whoever's on my team being resupplies is priority.
Absolutely. I agree with that. The thing about Scout is that you're really not a priority, and it's not that you're a bad player or anything. It's just that the commander resupplies twice as slow as you, and they're the ones collecting the nukes, so they need to be loading up as quickly as possible when they're back. When I'm playing Scout, a lot of times I'll just be like, give me one. They give me one, and I know I'm at least good for a short fight. I have 5 extra lives and 10 extra shots, so I'll just go run off, and I'll stand somewhere nearby to defend the perimeter while I'm watching the 3 shots get loaded up. I can at least do that for them.
I feel that.
And then once they leave, I'll go in and tab the resupplies all to myself, and I only need 3 or 4 at that point to get full. So, lastly,
we'll just my whole little thing on new players. Something when I didn't play much before the first tournament, but I've been playing a lot since then. The first tournament I'm speaking of is the when we hosted in 2015.
Right.
I volunteered to ref a lot of those games, even when it wasn't my team. So I just got to and just got to watch it. And
Oh, yeah.
something I would say is don't try and watch everything because it's too chaotic if you're new. Try and follow a single person and just see what they're doing and just like, oh, I'm going to learn scout this game. Time to find a scout and follow them around the entire game. Don't actually do that, but
He's following.
if you're a ref, that's even worse.
True.
Just penalize. I dare you. I dare you.
Do it.
And the second thing I'll say is, it's the game. It's not as intense as people think. Something I am known to do is just not take any game seriously. Like for the entirety of our first tournament, when Caleb and I were on the Bean team with Zenless, Seth,
Bean team?
the Bean
it was
team.
the Bean team.
Leave me alone.
Bean.
I am not the little bean.
Like when we were playing against Australia, when we knew we were going to lose, we just tried to scare them. And it worked because they played their main positions for the second game, and it was absolutely amazing. But one of the things I would say is just take the game less seriously and have fun with it, because if
If you're having fun.
if you're having fun but getting your butt kicked, you're at least still having fun. If you're going super try hard and still losing, you're not going to want to play again. And the whole thing of Space Marines is, to get better, you have to play. There's not like a million guide videos you can watch and just research. I mean, you can. It's just not going to help you in the arena that much.
We're trying to make those right now. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our podcast. So thank you all for listening. You all have a good rest of your night. Laser Tag signing off.